John's going to do a repair now on this gravestone over here where the crack is with Lithomex, which is a material that we sell, light Indiana limestone.
Which comes in this container right here.
The quart container, it's pre-pigmented. This is a repair patching material. So for the brownstones that have the erosion in them, for this crack that's in here, it would be used, but it's not used as a mortar to lay up between things.
Keep working on these stones that you get some mainly of the colors you have, which is brownstone and the limestone. And so that if you had those colors, then you can do this too, where anywhere there's cracks, or after, and then also for the marble. And so after you fill in, if like you join the marble, then there's all that loss, then you come in with this stuff and fill that in. That's what this is for. So it's to fill in after you do repairs, like if you epoxy together, there's loss where the stone has chipped away or it's, you know, missing. And, or if there's just cracks, like on that table stone right there, we're gonna use that as an example.
We have 24 stock colors of the Lithomex, and for gravestones, it's common the limestone colors, the brownstone colors. Those are some of the most popular colors for the gravestones. But if you want to look at our other colors, they're here. We are growing and getting our stuff in all these different places. Right now, the closest to here is Lancaster, a place called Headstone. We can find our materials. But we're just down the street in Quakertown, Pennsylvania. So we have workshops. If you guys start to learn about these products and you want to learn more, you can always come and see us and have a workshop as well.
And so there's some other companies that do what they do, but no one as reasonable, honestly, in the cost of the products. Like,
so if there's a hole in the stone, you need to fix that first with the Lithomex. And then if the color didn't turn out the way you wanted it, you could use this mineral stain and come back in and then change that color of the patch.
So you can just buy pigments like this. You can buy pigments like this from an art store. Trying to make things closer to like a darker gray, you're generally going to be adding black. Here's a black. And so we can also, I mean, it's to try to do this as a pigment form onto something that's like that, I mean, it'll go too far too fast. Although you can do things and kind of blend it in if it's a really uneven surface. But I'll demonstrate and I'll show you the difference of what a little bit of pigment will do. Take that much pigment. When they're passed.
Yeah.
Okay, so look at this. You see how much pigment I added? It's powerful, huh? And see, that's too much. And maybe we started with too tan a color, so we could have started with a color that wasn't as tan. You know, I'm not saying that we necessarily wanted to use this, but the point is that you can tweak things, you can do whatever, but it will always dry lighter, and so you have to compensate for that. And so generally what you're going to do if you're worried about, if you're really trying to match colors, you have to measure it so you can duplicate your work. You can't just eyeball it and say, I'm going to put a pinch of this in, because it'll never be the same every time. So you really have to do it more like, you know, a quarter cup to a, you know, eighth of a spoon, or, you know, whatever, a very small amount. You need a smaller way to measure smaller amounts, but you can see the difference. So that was just a tiny, tiny bit of pigment. Also, what we can do is we can top coat something with a pigment like this. In other words, if I filled most of this in, we could do the top, like, you know, 1/8 inch or something in the color, because you're really only going to see the top. Eventually, if it chipped away, you would see what's underneath. But so we could use the color part just on the top. So that way you could use a more of a stock color or a different color that's close if you have a bigger fill. And then you could use this for like the outer, say, 1/4 inch, if, you know, if it's a bigger fill or whatever. Those are art supply
yes,
store
I
pigments?
understand. Are they dry?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
It's watercolor pigment.
They're iron oxide pigments. They're not for any one particular
Oh,
purpose.
they aren't, okay.
We can drive it in, and we can lower this down a little, and we can and this pigment will basically it'll get in there, and it'll lock in pretty easily. So we can.
See, that is so much closer.
You see how little bit I added though? That was a
I
stock
saw
color
that.
that he happened to have. I didn't tweak it at all in order to change it. So if you're casting a base, say you were casting a base for that stone right there, and you wanted it to be above ground because it originally was above ground, and you didn't want it to be the natural color of Portland cement, which is always gray, although it might look okay, or gray or white. So you could add pigment to that, and then you could change the color of that base.